My military experience, I wouldn't give it up for nothing in the world. I was in the United States Marine Corps from 1980 to 1988. I worked in corrections, military police, and I was a drill instructor in San Diego. I was stationed in Quantico, Virginia, Okinawa, Japan, Camp Pendleton, California, and my final station was Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California.
The first thing I remember is going to basic training. We got to San Antonio, Texas at midnight. And the first thing they did was fed us, and I said, this is all right. And then 2 days later, they gave me my first buzz cut, and I was thinking, what did I do? And I was ready to go home. After graduating from basic training, I actually felt differently. I felt more confident. I can't explain how I felt different, but I did walk different. And I think I was ready for just about anything. Wasn't sure what ready for anything meant, but I was ready for it. My first assignment was up in Rome, New York, where I was able to hear the B-52s take off. Later on, I was at Shaw Air Force Base in South Carolina, where I was able to hear the fighters take off. And later in my career, I was up at Andrews Air Force Base in DC, where I got to see Air Force One land multiple times. That is why we did what we did. That was the sound of freedom.
I joined the Air Force in 2013. I originally went to Mitchell Community College before then in 2012, and I served 7 years and decided to come back. I'm pursuing my business administration degree right now, and I only have 1 semester left, and I'll be finished with that. My time in the service, I served as a medic, so I worked in a clinical environment, and I also served on emergency services, so in the ambulance. So it really gave me a passion for helping people. So it really taught me a lot about empathy and caring for others and being there for others in their time of crisis.
I went to basic training in 1984. Basic training was at Parris Island, South Carolina. And the thing about basic training with the Marine Corps is I remember that night I flew into Charlotte Douglas Airport. Then we flew into Charleston Air Force Base. I was with 3rd Battalion, I Company, at basic training. Once I finished the 13 weeks of basic training, I was sent to 29 Palms, California for A school. And that was electronics and electrician school. Then from California, I was sent to Texas, Shepherd Air Force Base in Texas for B school, which was cable splicing and installation school.
I spent 4 years in the U.S. Navy from 1994 to 1998. I went into electronics, and I actually ended up working on F-14 Tomcat jets and was stationed in NAS Oceana, Virginia Beach. And that's where I was. I was land duty the whole time though.
People always told me coming through the Air Force that you'll know when you're ready to retire. When I was at Hickam Air Force Base in Honolulu, I think I had been preparing for retirement. I had my undergraduate, I had my place to live after I retired, and then one day I came back from lunch and said, I'm done. I knew I was ready, and I went across the street and I retired that day.
I got out of the military in 1980, moved back to the state of Maryland. My transition was from corrections in the military. I started working corrections for the state of Maryland. So I did that, and I ended up retiring from corrections in Maryland in 2007. And then I relocated to North Carolina and started working the corrections again in North Carolina. Still had a little bit in my system to get out. So once I got it out of my system, in 2014, I ended up here at Mitchell Community College.
But then after I got out of the Marine Corps in 1988, I went to work for a company where I met my wife, and we've been married for 34 years now. When I was 48, which would be 10 years ago, I went back to school to get my degree. So as a side note, I want to tell anyone that is thinking about going back to college, it's never too late. I was 48 years old. I was working 3rd shift, yet I went back to school at Catawba Valley Community College, carried 16 semester hours a semester, but did everything online while I was working third shift. So I want to put a note out there to anybody that's looking at this. You can go back to school no matter what the circumstances if you truly want to. So I got my accounting degree in 2013. The interesting thing was I graduated college in June, and at the same time my daughter graduated high school in 2013. So we had a double graduation party.
So transitioning from the Air Force to civilian life was more challenging than I thought it was going to be. So you kind of feel lost in the beginning if you don't have the right resources. Just figuring out what you want to do with your life after that, because you're used to every single moment of your day being structured. So you're used to being told like where to be, when to be there, things like that. So when you get out and you're completely on your own, it's quite the culture shock. So school was a good transition for me to kind of figure out what path I wanted to go on. So I chose business administration because I actually got my real estate license too when I got out. So it kind of steered me in the right life path that I wanted to go on.
I got out in March of 1998 and ended up coming back and staying at my parents' house with my son, and ended up coming up and going to school full-time at Mitchell. I started in accounting and then found out a year after I had been taking full-time classes here in accounting that I didn't really like it, and then switched my major to associate in science. Finished that in 2 years, and then actually my advisor, when I was getting ready to graduate, said that she had a job that she thought I'd be perfect for, and it was here at Mitchell as the curriculum maintenance technician. So I applied for that position and actually got it. Worked here for 2 years in that position, and then ended up moving to Wilmington for a while.
I did miss the camaraderie. I missed the people. I missed the mission. I did not miss the combat boots. I still have one uniform left. That one uniform sits in my closet. It is from my basic training days. It still has the dry cleaning tag on it, no stripes on the sleeves, and that is my one memento I have kept from the Air Force. I'm very appreciative to the military. I was able to see much of the world, and I hope I still carry much of the traits that they taught me and they imprinted on my character. I hope I still carry those with me today. My transition was easy. I think I was prepared for it. I was ready. Mitchell. How did I hear about Mitchell?
I've come back to Mitchell in 2015 as the registrar. I love it. I love it. That Mitchell, actually, me being a student here, actually made me want to come back and give back to the students here and work here to try to let them have the same experience that I had. I just, amazing experience as a student, and I love working for the college.
So I found Mitchell because I originally was a student here when I got out of high school. I used it as kind of a place to find the direction I wanted to go in. And it was such a great experience the first time around. I chose to come right back to it after I got out of the service because it's really close to home. And it's been nothing but a great experience for me. I've had great instructors. I've made straight A's since I got out. I'm a very dedicated student now. I feel like I appreciate school a lot more now than I did back in my younger years. So it's been nothing but a fantastic experience for me.
I went online, and the coordinator at Catawba Valley put me in touch to put my resume out for different community colleges, and Mitchell called me back and wanted to know they had an opening for an accounts payable position. And the administrative assistant that was in the department in financial services at the time actually worked with me at the company where I met my wife. And when the company shut down, she started working here. So it came full circle to come back to Mitchell Community College. And I've been here for 8 years, and I really enjoy this college because all the employees, faculty, and staff, we seem like one big family where we take care of each other here.
To me, Mitchell defines what teamwork is all about. We can't do in the classroom what we do without the other people supporting us, and it just epitomizes what teamwork is all about. We all need each other to get the job done, We all become fans of the students. We want to see them succeed. We want them to achieve their academic and professional goals. We want them to all have amazing lives.
So when I first moved down to North Carolina, and while we were waiting for a house to be built, my wife and I would come and sit downtown Statesville. And I noticed Mitchell in the background, but starting to do my transition and trying to find somewhere else to work. You know, I happened upon the job at Mitchell, security officer, and this is, like I said, it's a great experience working here. It's like being part of one big family.
I learned discipline and structure in the military, which I was lacking before. So when you're in the military and that is ingrained in you, for 7 years straight, that really translates into other careers or going to school. I feel like I didn't appreciate school as much as I did before I joined the Air Force, and the fact that I'm afforded the opportunity to go to school and have that paid for by the military is a luxury that I know not a lot of people have. So I really try to take advantage of that.
It was from a newspaper ad. I have it in my office today. And I was in absolute shock when they called me asking for an interview. My very first impression of Mitchell was a gentleman named Lamont Kenny from the vocational building, met me in the hallway when I opened the door, and he had such a big personality. He loved Mitchell. He was my first impression, and I knew from that moment on that this was going to be a good place. I knew from that minute that my life was about to change. I was very thankful for that.
My advice would be to really be honest with yourself and think about what you're actually passionate about. Think about what's going to fulfill you in your life. And once you make that decision, put everything that you have into that decision. So take every amount of effort that you have, even if it takes getting off social media, disappearing for 6 months, whatever it takes. Put all of your energy into that goal and don't stop until you get there.
I would like to talk to high school seniors that are interested in going into the military to find out what they truly want out of the military, because depending on what they want, I can kind of direct them to this branch of service they need to look for. Certain branches like the United States Air Force has a great community college system where they could go to school at the same time they're in the service and pick up college degrees and college credits. I do think it's a great opportunity for somebody to learn respect, to learn discipline, and to really further yourself once you get out.
Patience. Just like I said, I started in a major and ended up actually working for a CPA, finding out that I didn't like it, and then switched majors. At least at community college, you can try to figure out what you want to do and you get that experience. And even if you have to change majors, the transition, the college makes it easy, and it's just, you need to be patient because sometimes you just got to figure out what it is that you want to do. And I think the community college system allows you to do that.
If I had any words of wisdom for you, it would be inspiring, motivate those around you. Don't do anything you can't tell your kids or your mother, and surround yourself with people you respect and admire.
Take time to stop by to see what Mitchell has to offer. That way you too can become part of our family.